I heard about the film and had seen the film, the original version, years ago, and could vaguely remember it, and remembered sort of liking the idea of it, and then read the script and just loved the script. You know, it was a great character. There was a bunch of different levels and things going on, and you know, for me it was a story about brothers and friends and family, and you know, I've got two brothers, so it was sort of a something that I could draw from in that experience. I had a good 6 weeks of training with those guys, and John Barton, who's an ex-Marine, and a bunch of other Marines and guys from the Army, and weapons training, movement training with the gun, hand signals, and just hanging around those guys and getting a vibe for it and listening to the stories they told, and getting sort of inside the head of that world. More important than anything, that was what we got from it, was the sort of individual relationships we got, with each other and as a group. It was kind of in the end more important than the weapons training. It sort of comes secondary, I think, and it was great. It was a really good opportunity to go out and we had little BB gun, BB pellets, which we were shooting each other with, which was a nice introduction to hey gun, my name's Chris, and we're all bleeding by the end of it. Dan Bradley is a sort of, there's not anyone better, I don't think, in that action stuff, in that world. And so it was, car chase and stunts and all sorts of things, and it's a pretty impressive sort of sequence of shots. Jed ever really, was never attracted to her before he'd come back from the war. I think he was his brother's friend, or she was a couple of years younger than him. Knew who she was, but when he comes back from the war 6 years later, she's grown up into this beautiful woman, and all of a sudden he's like, wow, I didn't remember you looking like that. And so that the very first scene, they sort of, there's obvious chemistry, which kicks off, and then throughout the film they become closer and closer. And I think she's a little older than most of the other kids, so they form that bond, and I think he leans to her for support through a lot of this, and vice versa. Dan's fantastic. I probably have never had so much freedom or felt as comfortable, as I have with him. He has had so much trust in us and just given us that room to go for it, whether it be kind of ad-libbing some stuff or just with what we, generally want to do within the scenes, and has such a strong, sense of the truth in all of this, and that's been great. It's great in films where there's such an imposing theme, and it's so heavy and it's overwhelming at times, to just have scenes that are about something completely different. It's a breath of fresh air to all of a sudden be talking about high school, or something other than the war, because it's in your face for 90% of the film. But it's all been fun.